Welcome back to West Coast Wednesdays. My name is Justin Ancheta from SF Garnish Music Production and Soul Graffiti Studios. Thank you to the Garnish Music Network for inviting us out for the umpteenth time. We really appreciate you guys. Some crowd noise. Woo! And once again, this is West Coast Wednesdays. Every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going live on multiple social media channels, our Twitch, our YouTube, our Facebook, and going out to all of our different networks worldwide. So thank you guys so much for being with us. I'm going to get into Ableton Live and just talk about what we've been going through so far, which is setting up Ableton for a live show, automations with effects, and in session view, bringing things from arrangement to session view and utilizing both sides, right? Arrangement and session view for pre-production for your show. This can be translated into lights. It can be translated into backing tracks or effects for a live instrument or vocalist. So let's get right into this. We have today our session. If you guys haven't checked this out, how we got to this point, you can go back on our playlist and see our first and second installment. This is our third of 4. And we're going to get into the song right here. Let's go ahead. It's called Who by Fire by Leonard Cohen. Let me just go ahead and rename this. Command R, clicking on it. Who by Fire. We have set our tempo to 75. It's set up here in the upper right. If it's grayed out, it is not set yet, and it just will continue wherever you are. This is going to be programming based on what we want for the show. So let's go into Google Docs here. I'm going to bring in just the lyrics. This is basic Google Docs, and it's just how I'm going to organize how we want this. We have the chords in place, and we also have everything else. I like putting in little minors like that instead of the M. Just going to go ahead and change some of these. And we're going to get into changing parts automatically, right? So changing between different scenes without having to click on anything. That's one of our goals here, okay? So this is our first verse. We want to get into just like how long would each part last? So let's go ahead, the beatbox starting off. So this would be kind of the intro. Actually, before that, let's go ahead and do this. I don't want guitar to start. I just want the vocals to start on, or the beatbox. So I'm going to zero that out, pressing 0. That deactivates that track on that one. And going back over here, let's listen in. Okay, so let's see how many times around do we want this to go. Let's look at this as we go through this, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it looks like 2 measures. So what I'm going to go in here is up in the upper area, clicking on the main master. It shows down here what you can do with the follow actions, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so we can really work on this, okay? We're going to say follow action, go to the next scene, and we're going to do that after 2 measures, right? That's how long I just counted that. All right, zooming back out again. So now this right here, I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but when I zoom in up here, this looks a little bit different. Okay, we were talking about this last time. Really important to distinguish that difference so you know it's going to follow up. Let's try this out. And guitar starts. Okay, so we're back in here with our different scenes coming down here. and this is our master channel. And this is where we can kind of start naming these different parts, right? So Who by Fire, I guess in the beginning, I would probably say this is Beatbox 2 times. Okay, and then it comes in here, which is Guitar Intro plus verse. So this is where our intro and our verse are pretty much the same thing. Let's go back to our lyrics again. And right here we have the Beatbox 2 times guitar intro, the whole chord sequence. Notice it's AGA, AGA, CGC, CGC, right? And then it goes back to AGA. So our whole chord sequence is pretty much this. So our verse is our intro plus this, and then plus this again. That's 3 times. And then it has an extra right here. So this is like the verse out. We have to create a verse out now. So let's go ahead and duplicate this down. And this is going to be called verse out. And I recall this being 3 sequences. And let's find out, we really have to count out how long our sequences are. So let's go ahead and just solo our guitar. Okay, so that's pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That's a 4 beat, and then dun 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 dun. So it's 4 measures is 1 sequence. So if we have, going back to our part here, we have our 1 sequence there, which is 4 measures, and then this is another, which is 4 measures, another, which is 4 measures, so 12. Okay, so I'm going back in to specifically the intro and that part, follow action, next, and I'll put this to 12. All right, and the verse out, this is where our chords really change. And this is where we might even need to make the new chords happen, right? Because we don't have the ending part. We have our CGC, but then we don't have A, F, E. Right? And that's that last part that really will change. So I'll get my guitar right here. I'll get the steel string back in 1 second. All right, so I am going to play this last part here. So it's a lot longer in regard to measures, and I'd probably like to just kind of put our measure markers in here. This really helps out with really understanding, right? I wouldn't have to count as much otherwise. So putting our measure markers, we know that each one is a full measure. And then later on, when we get to this next part, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Shall I say? 3, 4 is gone. A measure per chord, and then at the very end we have 2 measures here, and another one of E. All right, so that's what we want to have on our out, right, is this whole area right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring that into our next section, verse out. I'll just go ahead and delete this. And as I'm recording, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to use headphones here instead of any monitors so that we can really get a clean take. So this could be something that we could use live if we wanted to. All right, let's try this out. So I'm looking at the chords that I'm wanting to play, which is and let's do this. Going into record mode. And I want to make sure you guys can see this too. Dun, 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 record mode. I want to engage that track and put this in. And let's do a count in. So it says none, I'm going to go to 1 bar so I can have time to play that part. All right, let's try that again. All right, one more time here. Okay. So we really want to make sure that we're on the right channel recording as well. So this microphone coming through 12, it was set to a line in. There we go. I don't need that to be playing through. And again, here we go. So right there, at the very end, we can actually go ahead and kind of see at the end here, we had a lot of extra time. We can just cut that up, right? And let's not loop this one. All right, so we're not looping that. And let's change this color so we know that we're working on this. Verse out on solo. Right there is going to be where it comes back to the top one again. Okay, so this is where we really want this to be at the very top, because we're going to play this song and say after follow action down here is going to be, let's go ahead and make sure our microphones are set the way we want. We can take that one off now. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Okay, so you guys are hearing the appropriate microphone. I just turned on the side mic so you can kind of hear the guitar a little better when I record, which is my recording mic. And now we want this to be as long as however many measures, actually. What was that? So we had 1 measure, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 measures, and then it's going to do an action. And that 5, it says play the first. Okay? So that's going to go right back up to our Beatbox intro again. Now, that actually, let's go play the previous. There we go. That's what we want. Play the previous. Okay, so that's going to give us the opportunity to play the previous. Let's try that. Good. All right. So there are some options here of a percentage of this action or this action. 0% will be this one, but the previous is the one that we want right down here. So let's go ahead and play this, okay? So we have our Beatbox intro. Guitar in. All right. Now, verse. Yep. Who in the nighttime? Who by a or higher deal? Who by a common trial? Who in a merry, merry month? Who shall I say is calling? 2, 3, 4. And it's back in again. Good. So this is actually a moment where this guitar is a little bit brighter. It's recorded a different way. It has a little bit more hiss in it. So we want to kind of balance out. It's pretty common to track all the guitar at the same time, which is another thing that could kind of keep this balanced. First guitar and second. It's still a little loud. All right. So this is going to be looping around back and forth, which is essentially what happens in this song, right? It's verse into the ending of the verse and then back into the second part, okay? Now this, we have a part where we kind of want to start doing some different loops going on. And that's where we might want to add something extra in. Okay, but essentially this loop could be something that can go around and have specific effects cueing at certain moments. Okay, we have our effects all channel here, and let's go ahead and just copy over these lengths because this is actually the same length as each part that's being used. Okay, so. Okay, so this is the part where I'm just going to go ahead and bring that down, and I want to bring in some effects at certain moments for, let's just say this is a live vocal effects. Effects live vocals. We'll just rename that up in the upper right-hand side, which is Command R going in. I'm going to take my guitar off. All right, so now I'm ready here to be doing this where we have our effects. Now we also, this is actually unengaged, so we want to actually re-engage this I'm pressing 0. If it has a stop, it will not play this function. And we want this to play through, because this is going to be our effects that we want to do. Okay, so now I have my external audio devices, or external hardware, which is going to be affecting this. So as I record, I'm going to make sure that the automations are recorded. And let's go ahead and do this. And actually, for everything right now, this should be in record mode so that we can record that part. Let's try that out again. All right, we can kind of mess around with those different effects. All right, so noticing that there's our effects going on and off. All right, so if we're doing a vocal part now, yes, yes. All right. So this is where we want to get into our voice, our live voice. Let's make sure that this is everything that we want. And here we are. So we just did some automations. Go ahead and turn off all that extra reverb. And so I'm talking and using the effects inside Ableton now. And the reason why I'm doing that is that I want to see how these effects were done, right? And how it sounds on the voice. It's also going to everything right now. But we can actually make this just be for the voice. Let's actually do that. Okay, so our external out is, we have this to vocal effects. This is where we can actually copy this and paste it over to vocals. And let's go ahead and just zero these out. Okay, so we just want to try these out on the vocals only. One, two. Here we go. Here we go. cha, cha. Hey, hey, hey. Oh. All right, bring that back down right here. So I'm noticing that the effects that I'm bringing over Beat Masher, let's say Beat Masher over here, is not actually coming over exactly the same. So I'm going to copy and paste that manually. Beat Masher over to Beat Masher. And then the other one that I was working on is Fade to Gray. Right? That kind of is what I want, but maybe not all of it. Copy and then paste that in over here, which is Fade to Gray. Anytime you have your effects on, it will actually have those modulations in place. So select all and copy. This is Fade to Gray on this one. And let's do Fade to Gray on this front one. Looks like nothing's on the top. So then we have Beat Masher is the only one to do. And it doesn't have any automation on the second one over here. And neither would this be. Okay, so here we are, intro. All right, so this is allowing me to talk and have those throws happening. Here we go. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. 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 Adding some extras here. Shall I say, who's calling? Shall I say is calling? Okay, back to the lyrics. Who by fire, who by water, who in the sunshine, who in the night, who by a highway, who by a common track, who in your merry, 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 May, who by a very barricade, who, all right. So it actually has it to where another moment where we need to make sure these come all the way off at the very end. I really love having one right here that just is totally clean, right? So we turn this one on, show that automation. Select all, delete. But we still want it to say where it's at. So we need to make sure that this is a line going across, right? If it's not a line, it means that there's no automation on it. So let's go ahead and we're here. Notice how my voice effects. And then right away, I'm hitting here. And this one can turn it off entirely. The effects per se. All right, so we have just some general effects going on the voice. And they're just kind of turning on and off kind of randomly. I think that the beat masher is cool, but it's not totally in the right space. If we ever wanted to move that around or over, right, it's as easy as copying and then pasting to a new location, right? Putting that over a little bit. You can also kind of make your own little jumps easily by popping that in. Quick way to just mess around with that. All of these seem a little bit extreme to me. So I can bring these down a tad bit, and that way my voice can stay in at all those points. I also like to go ahead and select that, right click, simplify envelope. And when I simplify the envelope, oops, Control Z, get off from grid, and my fade outs can be a little bit more chill out. Dun 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 no 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 da 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 da. So I'm actually doing this for the live stuff, right? And then I plus this right here. Let's go ahead and just name this as clean. And we can do these as what they are, which is like intro. This is GTR. Intro. So I kind of want to split these up now because that I found out that the intro guitar is going to be a little bit different than the other parts. Because I don't always want to go back to the intro. I just want to cut that out sometimes and just have these bounce back and forth. So essentially we're going to take this and just make it a 4-bar intro, which is the full sequence. And then this is going to be shortened to the 8 bars. So now when we're coming through here, right, it's playing there. And I'm still having my automations going on. I'm going to go ahead and rename this as verse. And rename this one as verse. Very slow decay. Shala. It's called Lean Me. Who by Lonely Slip? Who by Barchere? All right. And once again, go back to clean. And let's stop that there. Press all stop. Okay, so my verse out chord-wise, I notice is a little bit different than I want. I want this to be here, starting a little bit later. And that is because when I'm singing, that this is like that, essentially. So we have, who in your merry, merry month of May, who by a very slow decay. So that means we have it pretty basic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? And then it goes right into the ending part, which is the outro verse. Let's make sure our chords are starting in the right spot here. Good. F to E, back to E, 3, 4. All right, and now this is a little different again. Cleaning that up, making sure my voice is clean again. Now, this is going to be a little bit shorter. Instead of 5, a measure of 5, let's do a measure of 4. Okay, this totally makes sense now. So let's try that out. Shall I say is calling me. Okay. Great. So we have that written back in there. So now we have this pretty planned out the way that we want, okay? And we have our vocals with the effects that we want. And our backing tracks, we also can do what we want with them as well. Maybe something a little bit different. Bum, 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 bum. All right. If you guys have any questions, you guys are welcome to email us, sf@garnishmusicproduction.com. Remember, this is setting up for a live show. And I'm going to clean that up. So my voice is now cleaned up because that's playing. I could even stop this now. And it will stop on the downbeat of the next phrase. Okay. So we have that looping around. Let's go ahead and look at these. Looks like we have Beatmasher and our other ones still engaged over here. So I just want to make sure that this is going to all, and then all is going out to effects. Live vocal effects. This is going to be effects all because we have our vocal effects somewhere else. So effects. Let's say drums. And that means that we don't want to send our main voice anymore. We can just go straight to the master. All right, so when we're sending straight to the master, this means that this will be its own separate effects only for the voice. And then these effects are, let's make sure this is coming from the right area. We want this from the drums. So everything that has to do with the beatbox or the pad. Let's go ahead and bring these all together. And selecting those, selecting the first one and then pressing Shift, selecting the last one. Command G, grouping. They automatically all will send to the main group. And we'll say drums all. That's including percussion, right? The beatboxing. And now this is effects drums. So this is now being sent to the drums area. All right. So let's just see how this is sounding now. This top one, actually, let's go ahead and have this copy up here so we can have some. Oh, these are all not engaged. Pressing 0. There we go. And that's where I want to kind of get that ba-da-da-bop, sending up. Dun, 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 dun. Beat masher. I just want to make sure I'm on the right thing. And I'm noticing. I'm noticing that there's certain effects that I don't want on at certain moments. So fade to gray right here. I'm going to go ahead and just take that away. Let's go ahead and take that away, that whole spot there. Just at the end of the phrase, bringing that up. I also like the idea of just simplifying this and being able to raise this. There we go. So. So I don't want my guitar actually to fade out like that. So this can just go to the master for now and bypass the all, which is like sending to this all could be, yeah, sending to specific effects, right? There should be effects all channel here. Let's go ahead and duplicate this and make that happen. Command D. I'm going to just delete these for now. Or actually Control Z, and let's zero these out so they're not engaged. We'll make this be effects all. All right, it's nice to have everything separate and make sure that effects all is sending to. There we go. So at some point I can actually affect everything if I come in here and I'm messing around with this, okay? Effects all should be a lot simpler. Delete automation. So we're just going to start nice and clean here. And let's go ahead and re-engage these. And so that when we're playing, we can start bringing stuff up into there. Yes, yes. So you can easily just zero these out, but still keep them there when you want them, okay? It's an easy way to kind of keep your effects nice and clean. It might be that we have all of our effects toward the end in the same location, and maybe even kind of around the same color as well, so that we kind of know what we're dealing with here, right? All right, so here we are. We actually had it to where we were trying to do this like all effects channel. And that would be that all of these then would have to send to the all after the all channel. Boom, 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 boom. I'm not even seeing the all channel anymore. Let's go back over here. There's the all channel. And I want everything to send over there from these. This is routing. It looks like the individual channel here should be able to be sent wherever I want. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. So effects vocals, can we bring that over? Okay, so we can't actually send into a group. That would be an upgrade. Ableton 12. Being able to route into a group, because that would allow me to then do that. Or all of these could be routed to effects all. There we go. That's what I need. I just needed to talk that through myself. Okay, hope you guys are following along here. I should just zoom in so you guys are understanding what's happening. Okay, so all of these channels here are my effects, individual effects, are then sending to the effects all, which is then sending to the master. And what that allows me to do is on my effects all channel, throw something and it goes to everything, right? I do want full control, even though I want individual control of drums and vocals very specifically here. I do want full control right over here. So let's go ahead and try this out. Beatbox Intro. Let's go ahead and engage our tracks here. Next time when that comes around, let's rename this as just intro. Doesn't quite need that yet. What's cool is that these can actually be zeroed out and then turned on later on as an extra effect, right? Because they're going to be looping back and forth. Maybe on the second time around, we're on verse one. Comes back in, and it brings up that level. All right. So I do like the feature of this kind of coming in and out, zeroing in and out. Pretty simple. We could potentially have this in a different location. And I want to make sure that we have our parts going on here. Verse, guitar intro, and we don't want these. These are just from that little tryout I did, but this hip hop sub is the part I want. There we go. There we go. Bass. Okay, and I want to make this more custom. So let's go ahead and just bring these back down here where they were. Let's zero them out. We want to clean this up. They're still there. We can always unzero them, right? They'll come out. It's amazing how much they disappear without a name inside of them. Now, I want to play this bass, so I'm going to go. I'm going to go ahead and go back to just my vocal not going through Ableton. so that we can kind of just talk through the bass here. And we're going to go in the scale of, looks like A minor, which is good. And let's just go ahead and just play along with this a little bit and see what happens. Go guitar intro. A pretty cool way to actually be able to record all the parts, right? So we just learned here is that if you set up all of your automations to loop around, then you can actually just play through the song and mess around with the parts. I was just kind of getting used to that, so we can just go ahead and delete that and try that again. We'll start with the guitar intro. And now that we know where the notes are, I'm an octave down again. And I like doing a scale, instead of fourths, I like doing thirds, because it really allows, this is on the push 2, just 2 fingers to walk up the scale. So I'll have to pretty much relearn this one. Let's try another pass here. So starting with our click track in, remembering that we're doing 1 bar in here, setup. Here we go with the intro. Actually, let's start with the verse, because that's when the bass is going to come in. All right, so we're starting to kind of get some ideas out here. This is generally just getting a basic template for a live show and getting some automations going around. Notice how this song is just looping around in this section, and then the next song can be down here. So just some ideas for you guys. Thanks so much for being here at SF Garnish Music Production. My name is Justin Ancheta from SF Garnish and Soul Graffiti Studios. We really appreciate your guys' support. Check us out at sf.garnishmusicproduction.com. Thank you to the Garnish Music Network worldwide, all 8 locations, in person and in studio at our boutique studio. So check that out. West Coast Wednesdays, every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. We'll see you guys in the very near future. We hope you guys have a fabulous day. All right, cool. We're going to have a live bass player there at the show, so that doesn't quite matter.